Never in the history of the world has a woman calmed down by being told to calm down. Like in the history of calm and down, no woman especially, has ever calmed down.
Give me 3 ways as a man that I can guarantee I can wreck my marriage.
So many men in particular stop seeing their wife. We live in an age where if you're not still seeing your wife and you're not still occasionally telling her she's beautiful, that you love her, that she smells nice, that you're happy that she chose you, somebody else is going to tell her.
I'm speaking on behalf of women. I feel like that would be a huge one for women, is just to feel seen by their partner.
I think a symptom of a selfish man is lights on.
You don't have to lean in, remember?
I know, but I do it every time.
Can't help yourself.
I'm incapable of not pretending I'm on radio. James Sexton.
Laura Lentz.
Thought leader, provoker, extraordinaire, who happens to be one of the most renowned divorce lawyers that we have in culture right now. We have become friends, and I love who you are. Thank you for doing this with us.
I'm so happy to be here. I have taken sort of a step back from doing a lot of appearances after a long run of it, but because of our friendship and also because every single time I talk to you, I enjoy it and I'm smiling like this. And also it's finally my chance to meet Laura. This is like the piece that was missing of our, because there's so much bro energy between the two of us when we come together. It's like a supernova of bro activity, and it really needs a little feminine balance to bring it back home. So I'm so happy to be here. I cannot tell you how excited I was for this. And normally, and even some of the most amazing things I've been on, I find myself going like, oh yeah, I got to do that today. And this, I really was like, oh my God, I can't wait. Like I get to do like Carl and Laura this week. I can't wait. So this is a genuine pleasure. I'm really, really happy to be sitting down with both of you and really happy to, we got to meet earlier, but I'm really, really glad we get to do this.
Yeah,
this is set up a bit like an intervention that you might have constructed this way.
Me and James are on this side of the table.
That's right.
Because we've got questions.
That's right.
Well, you can call him James. I'm going to call him Jim because that's how
James Jim.
Okay,
you're
because I'm
James.
her counsel, she's going to call me James.
Even that gave me trauma. It's a miracle for those of you who are listening. If you're watching, you can obviously see one place we didn't end up was in front of somebody who does what you do.
I was going to say, some people might be astounded to know this is the first time you guys sat down with a divorce lawyer.
Right.
That's a real.
We skipped this step. So let's
go
back.
It's a good step to skip if possible.
My betrayal trauma therapist back 4.5 years ago, the first session I had with her was, do you have a divorce lawyer? And at the time I was like, taken back because I was like, well, we're together, we're working this out.
Right.
But as we went through it, I'm like, damn, I need to get a divorce lawyer just in case. Because I don't know. So now I've got you. It's great.
There you go. We're here. You gotta give me $1 later.
Yeah.
So that I just have it, and then listen, we have a friendship, Carl, but man's got to make a living.
I get it. So. Why we've been able to work together with Matthew at Mighty Pursuit, and when I had the opportunity for Laura and I to host you, what I really feel in my spirit is that we have the chance today to save people a lot of pain. That's what I think, because what we're learning on this side of the tracks, and even having you as a friend and a resource to be able to bounce things off of you, it's not bad marketing. You are a divorce lawyer, but you're about healthy people. Yeah. That's one of the ways I would describe you. You just happen to be at the really rough chapter of the end of a rough road. And so you've seen a lot. So people are like, what are you doing? Being friends with a divorce lawyer. I'm like, to have the scouting report on you are an expert pattern spotter.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning, even in my own life, we've had patterns in our marriage. We've had to break, and we've had to create. You wrote a book. That is really, really helpful for people. I don't know if divorce proof is even if we talked about ways to keep this connection special, if you believe it is, do you still have hope for marriage? Because
absolutely.
Give me the rough stats though. Let's
so
real quick.
56% of marriages end in divorce.
56.
Yeah, and that's the current statistic. Now, it's a little skewed because it includes second, third, fourth marriages, which people get increasingly worse at marriage. So the statistic for second marriages is lower in terms. It's a higher divorce rate for third than second. But the overall average currently is 56%. Now, I mean, I always tell people, just put that in perspective. Toyota in the 90s had a car that in 0.0001% the brakes would fail, and they recalled every one of that model of car to the cost of tens of millions of dollars. So like 56% is a staggering number. It actually, you could make a fairly cogent legal argument that marrying someone is an inherently negligent activity. Because negligence is a failure to perceive a substantial and unjustifiable risk of harm. Wow. And so if I told you there is a 56% chance this marriage is going to end in pain and fracture and loss of funds and harm to potentially your children, most people would go, those are bad numbers. I mean, I think you could even have it. If I said 20% chance, if I said there's a 56% chance when we walk out of here, you get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would either stay indoors,
that's too high,
wear a helmet. It's too high.
Yeah.
So that number is staggering. And so you would think I would say, so marriage, like avoid it like the plague. But the number that I think is even more interesting, at least to me, is that 86% of people are remarried within 5 years of their divorce.
What do you make of that?
I think it speaks very clearly to the fact that there is something in us that wants this unique kind of connection to another human being to work. And that even when we've tried it and it's failed, and I'm using like air quotes for failed, that there's still something that calls to us in it. So I am very much about, you said something interesting, as you often do. You said that, we don't say divorce proof, like divorce proof. Right. And I think that there's a hubris to calling a marriage divorce proof. Right. Like we're divorce proofing our marriage. Like you are just begging.
You're setting yourself up.
Yeah. That just feels like you're like tempting God, to be like, we got this covered, man, And it's like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of what can we do to maintain connection? And that's really what my non-courtroom work in the last few years has been about. And that is, my mother used to say that intelligence is hard to define, but she could spot stupid a mile away. And maybe what intelligence is an absence of stupid. So I don't know a lot about what makes a good marriage, but I've spent 25 years in the trenches of what makes bad marriages that ended up in my office. And so maybe there's a wisdom I get there in a reverse way, which is here's all the things they did wrong, so don't do those things or do the opposite of those things. Yeah. And I started putting it together, some years ago and into the book. And then after the book came out, it turned into something that people are very interested in talking about. Again, because I think it's so important to us to turn it around to where I'm sitting in connection to the two of you. Obviously we came together because of Matthew and the Mighty Pursuit and our connection and friendship that started from that. But prior to that, I had actually listened to the show, to Lights Out, because I really found fascinating as someone who spends all this time because I meet a lot of people who've had issues of infidelity, issues of addiction, issues of compulsion, who've had rupture, but they never have repair. They never have repair. They end up in my office. And the title of my first book was, If You're in My Office, It's Already Too Late, A Divorce Lawyer's Guide to Staying Together. And I find fascinating when people have and I think it takes tremendous courage to say, we've had this rupture in our relationship. Now, sometimes that's thrust on you. Sometimes you don't have a choice. It just happens very publicly and there's nothing you can do about it. On a rare occasion, people actually make the choice of sharing that they've had rupture in their relationship. As a divorce lawyer for 25 years, I can tell you, I have people who come in, they found out yesterday that their husband is cheating, their wife is cheating, whatever it is. And they're like, that's it. I want to file tomorrow. We're out, And I tend to try, unless there's some imminent risk of harm,
Right.
to say to them, okay, I'm here.
Right.
I'm not going to retire tomorrow. I'm going to be here. And I can tell you dozens of times that person the next day or 3 or 4 days later calls me and says, okay, we have a talk. We're going to go talk to a therapist, or do you have a recommendation of a therapist? And I give them that name.
Yeah.
And I never see them again.
Mm.
But I also never know what happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
I never know what happened. Only once I was actually in a car dealership and this guy comes up to me. He's like, do you remember me? And I said, no. And he says, I came into your office about 15 years ago and I had gotten caught cheating. And today he's like, and you gave me the name of a therapist. And you did it. He goes, and we're still married. We have 2 more kids.
Wow.
He's like, I owe you so much. He's like, I was like, I thought it was over. Right. And he's like, if you'd gassed me up at that, I would have gone down whatever road you took me down. He's like, and I'm so grateful. He's like, that you didn't do that. And I was like, man, I vaguely remember that. Yeah. I was like, but I've had that conversation with so many people on the front end of it, but I never get to see the other end of it. So I say all that to simply say that I found fascinating, even before we knew each other and developed a friendship, I found the sort of rupture and repair and the way that the 2 of you on the show have talked so honestly about all the feelings that came from that. Because we've created a culture where, you would have been applauded to be in my office. Mm-hmm. But to be in a therapist's office, it's like, oh, look at you, give him a pass, And I think it's so much easier to slam a door shut than to try to hold it open.
Yes.
Mm. And so I think we have such unique vantage points, the 3 of us at this table, that I was just excited for the conversation. So.
Yes.
If we go to the wealth of experience you have, give me 3 ways as a man that I can guarantee I can wreck my marriage.
Oh, sure.
Give me the 3 biggest hitters.
You just need 3? I was going to say tuck in.
But in all the years, like, hey, if you want to make sure you end up divorced, man, do these 3 things.
The one that comes to mind, actually, the first one that comes to mind, but it's meant humorously, is never in the history of the world has a woman calmed down by being told to calm down.
Facts.
Like, literally, if the words calm down come out of your mouth, like in the history of calm and down, no woman especially, has ever calmed down.
Similar to relax.
If you want her to not calm down, tell her to calm down. So that was humorously the first thing that came to mind.
Received.
That's good, yeah.
Calm down. Calm down.
Yeah, just calm down. Like, you're overreacting. Like, I've literally never met a woman who did not say, like, oh my God, that's the worst thing you could say. So, no, in seriousness, what are 3 things? I think 3 things. So, I would say the one that jumps out first is stop seeing your wife. Mm-hmm. Stop seeing her. Like, just let it just become like, we don't know who discovered water, but it wasn't a fish. Like, she's here. I got that now. I don't need to worry about that. I don't need to see her anymore. I don't need to tell her that she's beautiful, tell her that I chose wisely, tell her that she's funny, tell her that she smells nice, tell her that her whatever. Like, it takes so little to make someone feel seen. Mm-hmm. And I think so many men in particular stop seeing their wife. I mean, forget that they stop trying to close the deal. They stop dating their wife. They stop wooing their wife. It's even worse than that. They stop seeing her entirely. Yeah. And it's such a low percentage move. It's so easy to just leave that little note that just says, so fun watching TV with you last night. I married the prettiest girl.
Yeah.
What does that take? Like, and by the way, what's the downside? Like, there's zero downside. So stop seeing, because here's the thing. We live in an age where if you're not still seeing your wife and you're not still occasionally telling her that she's beautiful, that you love her, that she smells nice, that you're happy that she chose you, somebody else is going to tell her how pretty she is. Somebody else is going to be. And then she's created conditions for it. Like we've created conditions where she's going to really be receptive to that from somewhere else. And it's not a short, because, you know, people's marriages fall apart the same way they go bankrupt, very slowly and then all at once. And I mean, your own saga of it happened very slowly and then all at once. And no single raindrop's responsible for the flood.
No.
But it's just made up of raindrops. So that would be number one. Number one is stop seeing your wife. Number two, I would say is frame everything whenever possible in a critical manner. That would be a great way.
Give me an example.
Just demolish your.
Give me something you've heard.
Rather than saying to her, you know, I feel like we haven't had any time together lately. You know, like I feel like we've been going in different directions and I feel like we're disconnected and I don't want to feel that way. Rather than that, say to her, like, I don't know if you can fit me into your schedule this week, but I'd really appreciate it if you could, you know, or, you know, listen, how would I know what you're up to? I haven't seen you all week, you know, the example I give sometimes on this is I flip the gender because I have to. When I remember I dated a girl, so I have to wear this outfit 5 days a week and I have to shave because I have to like do like the Gregory Peck Inherit the Wind thing. I can't do the cool like oops I didn't know I was sexy stubble like Carl's got.
It's strong.
So we each have our strengths, I guess. So I have to do this clean shaven thing, and on weekends I don't shave because it's like in 2 days I don't have to drag a knife across my face. It's nice. But I was dating this girl and she had very sensitive skin. So every time I would kiss her or whatever, I'd kiss her neck, it would like irritate her skin. And she would say, you know, like, oh God, your beard is so prickly, you know, whatever. And I remember immediately in me, it would make me go like, well, you know, like you should be happy I'm kissing you. Like, and okay, so now I'm going to shave on weekends too. Like, it's, you know, it just felt critical. Criticism is still criticism, you know?
Right.
That relationship didn't work out. The next person who I dated, who I'm still with, that really had the right attraction to it, and she had the same problem, by the way. But what she would do is, as soon as I finished shaving, she would come in and she would go like, oh, you're so sexy when you're clean shaven. You're like Don Draper in Mad Men.
Hello.
Dude, I would shave 3 times a day. I was like a little kid.
We are simple creatures.
Shave, and I would come downstairs and be like, I just shaved. And she'd be like, oh, you did, didn't you? And I'd be like, yeah. And I'd kiss her neck and she'd be like, oh my God, it's so sad. Dude, I would have shared because it didn't feel like a criticism. It was a praise. So I would say it's the same thing. Like if you're saying to her, why haven't we had sex all week? Okay, you're off to ruin because now we've just raised the defensive flag from minimum. Whereas if you go, you know, babe, like, God, it's been so hard to keep my hands off you this week. You look so good, man. I don't know. We got to figure out because I feel like we're ships passing in the night and I need to pencil in some time where I can just get a little of what's going on here because you are just like, wait, she's going to be like, yeah, well, I've been busy. No, she's going to be like, all right, well, maybe, you know, later on we'll figure that out or whatever, because it's so I would say if you want to screw up your marriage, definitely frame everything possible in the most negative, critical terms possible that will bring out the most defensive side of your wife. That's a great idea.
And you have seen this played out in more over and over again.
And over in every zone of relationship.
Because it seems to me like what I hear you saying is it requires intentionality and care.
100%.
And so it's like it's so easy to our frame is always start with the biggest need. Like, hey, I need validation this week. Can't explain it yet. Yeah. But
love that.
Can we talk about how I can find you more, or vice versa? Like, hey, I just need cuddles this week because I'm feeling a certain way, and it takes intention to. It's lazy to be like, I don't even see you a lot. Yeah. Like that's the currency we hear in other couples, and so that's what you're pointing to.
Right. Yeah. And then number 3, I would say, is keep a meticulous tally of what you've done for her and what she's done for you, and constantly make sure the books are aligned. And if they're not, be sure you point it out. Be sure you point it out. So everything must be
right.
Like, so instead of saying like, man, I had a rough day. When she says, oh my God, I had such a rough day today. When you go, you think you had a rough day. You know what I had to do today? Or,
Wow.
instead of the, oh, I picked up your dry cleaning. Well, that's nice. I paid all the bills this week.
Right. Make
So
it a competition.
Maybe we can,
Okay.
right. Like, and count the cost, count the tally
Got it.
of what have I done for you today? What have you done for me today? And make sure that tally is like right there, especially when it's imbalanced in your favor. When it's imbalanced in her favor, ignore it completely.
Right.
Like in the week where she showed up to do a million things for you,
Right.
that's not, you no longer are counting at that point.
Got it.
So this is a phenomenon I see in people. We do it in divorces all the time. When the rule is in your favor, you lean on the rule. And when the rule's not in your favor, lean on like some abstract concept of fairness.
Right. We're
So it's the same thing. When
Yeah.
the tally is in your favor, make a point of pointing out the tally and the score all the time. The minute it goes in the direction where she's doing more for you in a particular week,
Oh my God.
suddenly when she says something, be like, what, you want a medal?
Right.
So those would be the 3 out of 4,000 things that people do.
Thank you for tuning in to Lights On.
Yep.
You just got 3
Bye.
huge practical keys to destroy your marriage quickly. Lights On is proud to partner with God Behind Bars, restoring, rebuilding, reclaiming lives. If there's ever an organization for you to check out that you want to support, get involved with, if you want to see people come to life again when society has said life is over, this organization is for you. GodBehindBars.com. Check them out. There are ways to get involved, ways to give, ways to support. Maybe you'll even find that this is a passion for you to bring life to people who are literally behind bars, and you can make a difference today. So God Behind Bars, check them out online. We love partnering with them, and they could use you. Never know. Check it out today.
Well, what's funny though is, we're laughing at it, but both you and I as men, and every single man who's watching this right now, just went, oh, I've totally done that.
Whoa.
Every one of those 3.
Yeah.
Which I don't say critically. I say it to say that these are really human problems. Like these are really human problems.
The scene one was big. It really...
Yeah.
I think a symptom of a selfish man is just the lack of awareness of that. And part of our beautiful road of knowing each other again was her. She didn't always have to say it, but it's like, hey, I know I have assumed you're okay for a long time.
Yeah.
And which leads you to feel unseen. And so it's just been a beautiful journey of seeing. Seeing takes time. It takes reflection. That one really got me.
And
but
remembering to say it too. I think
huge.
like, I remember my partner saying to me once something about like, oh, do you still like my hair like this?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like you're the prettiest woman in the world.
Yeah.
Like, do I not say, like, I should say that every day.
Yeah.
I should say that constantly. Like, and you find, this idea of like, well, yeah, of course I feel that way. I've told you that 1,000 times. Like, but man, like, has there ever been a time you didn't want to hear it? Like, has she ever said to you, like, you're so cool, man. Like, you're so handsome. Like, that it didn't feel good.
Never.
It always feels good.
Yeah.
So like, it's such a low percentage move? Like that, I don't know why guys just don't make a point of just doing it. Because I love a problem that's easy to fix.
Yes.
And someone feeling unseen is the easiest problem to fix. Because all it is you just have to go, I see you.
And what makes you feel seen? That is a weapon of a question. Because it's like, I don't even want to, now that I realize that you felt unseen, what are ways that you feel seen?
How can I have you know how much I see you? And how beautiful seeing you still is to me.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. Like, you feel like home. So how do I let you know that you feel like home? How do I let you know what you look like to me, how beautiful you are to me? And some people, it's reassurance about how they look.
Yeah.
Some people, it's just a reminder of how much value they bring to your life. Like, I'm so lucky I have such a good partner, Sometimes it's just acknowledgement of, like my parents didn't do everything perfectly, but my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad worked outside the home. But I remember, like, as a kid, I never had any perception that there was an imbalance.
Yeah.
Because every night, I remember my dad, when we'd sit down to dinner, would say, did you thank your mom for making this beautiful dinner for us?
Right.
And made a point of us, saying, like, and I got in the habit always of being like,
Absolutely.
Mom, this looks delicious. Thank you so much for making it, because he was acknowledging her labor. You know, he was acknowledging that we both, like, we were not allowed to say my mom doesn't work. He was like, your mom and I work. You know, your mom has a job. Your mom works inside the home. She keeps the ship running, and I work outside the home. But we work, and we have an equal, like, we have an equal role and equal value. You know, so
would you say that big marriage problems you found lead back to really simple solutions?
Yeah.
And I ask it like hedged because even that, like a low-level husband is going to say, well, she doesn't see me, forgetting the fact that it's his job to lead the way on that.
Sure.
But sometimes
But even if you accept for the purposes of argument that it is his job, right, to see her, all you're describing there is like a death spiral where you know, because this is what I see. This is the death spiral. Well, yeah, of course I'm sleeping with my secretary. She hasn't slept with me in 3 years.
Right.
Well, of course I haven't slept with him in 3 years. He doesn't talk to me.
Right.
He has nothing to do with me. He doesn't said a kind word to me in those 3 years. He hasn't once taken me out for like a romantic evening together where I would feel inclined to want to. Well, I don't do that because every time I talk to her, all she does is criticize me and tell me what I'm doing wrong.
Beautiful.
Great, gang. You're doing great. Wow. You're going right down.
Yeah.
All it takes, that reverse works too, which is start to extend kindness without the expectation of you owe me now. Just the, I married the prettiest girl in the world. I'm so lucky. Are you okay? Why are you saying that to me? You know, I just forget to say it sometimes. And you know what? I need to start making a point of saying it more often. I'm telling you, if you consistently get in that habit, if that spiral will start moving in the other direction. And if it doesn't, now you know you have a problem. Now you know there's a real issue here. But most people, what they do is, you know, this is going poorly. So what do I owe her that for? I don't owe her that. Well, I don't owe him that. Okay, you're right. You don't owe. Here, guess what, gang? You don't owe each other anything.
Right.
You don't have to be married. There's 8 billion people in the world. You picked each other. So if you want to have it be the Olympics of how bad it can be, you are on the path, man. Knock yourselves out. You're both losing spectacularly. Or you can try to turn that spiral around.
Oh my gosh. I will. This is the most practical handle I can tell a man when it comes to seeing your wife. In as you listen to this, think about it. Make it a task. So on my morning checklist, the last one, I do soul time and then I do life. So I go a couple paces to make sure my soul is right. But the last one is the first task of the day is to contact my wife and let her know, plain and simple, I love her. And she's grown accustomed to that. And there was a weird analytical part of me. It's like, well, I don't want her to think that's an organic post-life explosion. I don't give two Fs about, babe, it is a task every morning, and it's my favorite one to send you. But that is a way you can immediately, if you're listening to this and you know maybe the person I love feels unseen, what's one thing you can do today? Put a reminder on your phone, have I contacted the person that matters most today? And it will change your neural pathway on that.
Yeah. You did something, was it just last week we were away? Yeah. We were getting ready for something and he comes in and I could tell he was a bit emotional. And he's like, I just want to say, I am so sorry for one time I remember yelling at you for taking too long because you were shaving your legs. And you just started crying because you were like, I'm so sorry for not being kinder in that moment. And I was like, that's such a bizarre, like.
It was years and years and years prior.
Yeah.
I just had a memory. Yeah.
Just had this memory. And I was like, that really meant something to me because it was like.
So meaningful. Wow.
Firstly, you remembered something like that you knew wasn't right. And you've come back, years later. And just said, I'm so sorry. So I think it's so important for couples that you can just do those little things.
And it's so sincere. It's so sincere. You know, I had a similar story I'll share with you. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for many years from the mother of my kids. My kids are 25 and 27. When we divorced, they were 5 and 7, so they were quite young. But we had a very friendly split. We were college sweethearts. We grew apart. For whatever reasons, it fell apart. But we, you know, certain commitments we couldn't keep to each other, but many we did keep. And raising 2 great young men was something we did really well. She's been remarried for many, many years to a great guy who I'm very happy to have as part of my family. But about, I guess about 10 years ago now. So my sons were like 15 and 17. And I've been divorced for a number of years. There's a young woman who used to work for me named Amanda. She was a lawyer who I'd hired, and she worked for me right out of law school for a couple of years. And then she had a baby. She went on maternity leave, never came back. I joked she left me for another man because she had a little boy, and she said, you know, I'm gonna work from home. And then she moved to Florida to be closer to family. She's a great lawyer. She's actually now one of the best lawyers in the Miami area. But she left, you know, and she came back to visit. She was in New York for whatever reason. She had just had another baby. So she comes into the office, and my secretary says, oh, this young woman named Amanda's here. I was like, oh, my God, Amanda. I hadn't seen her in such a long time. And I go out, and she's got this little, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 month old baby. And then she's got her, you know, 3 or 4 year old son. And I'm chatting with her, and she had that look about her that I know you know very well, of just an overwhelmed, like that second one, like you got like a little 2 or 3 year old, and then you got this little infant, and she just looked like shell shocked, like, you know, and I was, you know, and she just had this like, you know, and I'm gonna try to tell the story without getting choked up.
No crying on this podcast. I was clear. I was clear on that.
Yeah. And I went back to my office. I closed the door, and I called my ex-wife, and I said to her, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, when you were there, that you had this little 2 year old and you had this little infant, I was drowning in my own fear.
Yeah.
I was trying to start a law firm. I wanted to be a good provider. Like I was buried. Like I came from nothing, and it was get rich or die trying. Like being a successful divorce lawyer was plan A, and there was no plan B. And I just said to her, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I said, just seeing this young woman and how overwhelmed she is. And I remember you being that overwhelmed, and I was so caught up in my own crap that I would come home and you'd be that overwhelmed, and I would just be complaining to you about how stressful my day was. I was like, and I just want you to know, like, I'm so sorry. Like you deserved better than that. You deserved me to show up for you and to say to you, like, oh my God, you're doing such a good job. Like, cause that's what I gave Amanda. Like,
right.
Like I was like, you're doing great. And she's like, oh, I feel exhausted. I'm like, you're crushing it. I'm like, this is a lot, man. This is a lot. I'm like, you got your hands full. Like, but you're doing great. Like, you should be so proud of yourself. You're such a good mom. And I thought, like, God, I gave it to this person who worked for me for a little while, and I didn't give it to the mother of my own children, you know? Yeah. And what I'll tell you, I learned from that experience. And she was, of course, my ex-wife was like, what is wrong with you? Like, this was, you know how long ago this was, Jim? And I'm like, I know. And she's like, I of course, I accept your apology. And of course, like, thank you for it. Like, she's like, but, you know, you were stressed. And she, of course, immediately, like a typical woman, is like, trying to make me feel better.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you know, you were very stressed and you wanted to be a good provider, and you turned out to be a great provider. So you shouldn't be so hard on yourself. But I have to tell you, like, that taught me so much that was useful for me, because I really do think sometimes when we hurt someone, it's our own just obliviousness. Like, we really rarely are out there going like, today I'm going to screw up my marriage. Yeah. It really is like, we're just so caught up in our own selfish, our own myopic view of things that we just don't see like how easy it would be to just connect to this person who we love and who, you know, is so important to us. And you don't, like, I love that story because I don't know what you were doing that suddenly you thought of that moment where you had, like, you know, but I just see that in my parenting sometimes. I don't know if you do this in your parenting. Yeah. Like, my adult son who's 27, I still remember once accidentally slapping him. Yeah. Because we were in Whole Foods, he was having a temper tantrum, and he was doing something. I was trying to, like, kind of like, what are you doing? And he turned and it smacked him in the face. And 20-something years later, I'm still guilty about that. Wow. I still feel overwhelmed by it. I've said that to him before, and he's like, Dad, I'm good. Don't worry. It caused no permanent injury. Yeah. But I think that's, if you can remember in the moment that this is the connection right now.
Yeah.
That you will either live to go, man, I wish I had done that differently.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is your opportunity to deepen. I think you'll always make a good choice.
How I came to that, we were on vacation, and I was just really freaking sorry.
If anybody who ever criticizes women for being emotional,
I know, right?
Yeah, the two of us are weeping.
Yeah, no,
too.
no, I was just watching her unwind. Because I see her in a different way now. I realize how much she carries, and I just thought, I'm so glad she gets to unwind. And I believe it was a God recollection, because I don't look at things I did with shame now. I look at them as opportunities to redeem. So I just had this memory of our kids were smaller and we were rushing out of the house, and I was so demanding of her to come out when I wanted. And it just was mean. And it's like thinking about all the stuff that she does. Even, we're 20 plus years in, our kids are grown, whatever. But I was like, I'm not going to miss a chance to say that you deserve better. And I'm so grateful for, it's not there, you deserve better. No, you deserve better. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to never do that again and build this. And it was, I welcome those moments, and the fact that you're sitting across the table having similar ones. It's another reason why I think we connect on that level, because I think it's okay to be a husband in progress, a man in progress. The notion that I'm going to get it right, but even when you do get a chance to repair, as a recovering addict of various things, it's like it's never a wrong time to make amends. And that came from me seeing you unwind and thinking about, thank God you get to unwind. So good to see you here. You do so much. You've got 4 kids. I'm the 4th, and you just do amazing work. So damn right, let your hair down, girl. Laugh. And then I was like, I just had this sinking feeling of, I remember rushing her and your face when you came out. And I just remember inside feeling so angry at myself, and I'm just grateful to have opportunities to bring those things to the surface when it comes to that.
And I think you can go the other direction with it too, which is, whenever I see successful couples, and I consider the two of you a very successful couple, like I love watching your connection. I love watching your family. I love in both our friendship and also in things like social media. And I'm curious, because I'm as fascinated by the two of you as a happily married couple that's been through rupture and repair, and that really has a deep love for each other that's very palpable. Like anyone who spends time with you, like it's very palpable, and an affection for each other. Because we talk a lot about when we feel unloved, right? Like that's what we just talked about, is ways to make your partner feel unloved and unseen. But I'm always curious when I'm around a couple that I know has connection and affection for each other, is like, when are the moments that you feel, I'm actually particularly interested in hearing this from you, Laura, because Carl and I have talked about it before in the context of being men. When do you feel most loved by Carl is a very interesting question. I'd love to know the answer to.
I think in moments like that, exactly the point number 1, being seen, and him taking that time to see me and acknowledge. Yes, that's, I feel, is the most intimate moments.
Isn't that amazing too? Because I talk about differences between men and women.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think most men would say that's the first choice. But that's fascinating and wonderful.
It reminds me, we were in this city a while ago, and I just said to you, hey, I don't think you're on this, but let me know if this is triggering. Being here, whatever. And you were like, it's not, but thanks for freaking saying that, because you have crushed it. Like you've learned how to relate to the city in a new way. But you had told me that was like turned you on. I was like, hello, to your point. 100%. It's like, that did? Here I am. I'm like, hey, I'm in great, it's like me going,
way more
hey,
I'm
conscious of what the weight of this city is. Let me know if there's any. And you're like, I'm good. But I think seeing the unseen sometimes probably feels.
And I think I would say, I'm speaking on behalf of women. I feel like that would be a huge one for women, is just to feel seen by their partner. And especially, like when you're young, married, or you've got babies or whatever's happening, you're working and you've got babies, like all of those things, just knowing that you've got support and that person sees you and they understand and they can empathize with your your
those
journey.
Are really two different things too, because seen is one thing, but also like seen and understood and anticipated. Like, so he was saying to you, hey, this, like I know we're in a place that might be triggering for you. And so you sort of going like, oh, you're trying to get ahead of something. So that's not only do I see you, but I know you.
Yes.
And I know you, you know, I'll tell you a funny example in my own relationship is my partner's very, she hates like loud noises. Loud noises startle her. So you might be shocked to hear that I talk a lot. But I talk so much that it's like hard to even know what's important. So sometimes I'll be like, you know, kind of bopping around the kitchen doing something, and I'm just like, just talking, you know. And but I know that loud noises startle her. So I'll be doing something and I'll go, this is going to be loud. And then I'll turn the Vitamix on.
Yes.
And she always goes, thank you. As soon as I go, this is going to be loud. Or I go, this is going to be loud for a second. Or there's going to be a pop, you know. And then and I bet if I asked her, like when you said that,
yeah.
I thought, I bet if I asked her, I bet that she would say that's one of the times she feels loved.
100%.
Because it really is like this thing of like, oh, I know this thing about you that other people don't know, and I want to get ahead of it. You know, and I think that's a different thing even than being seen. It's being seen and then doing something with that seeing that makes you feel understood and important. So I want to hear the rest of the list if there's more.
Oh, more?
If there's more. I mean,
I
listen, if those are the only two, you got it easy, man. You crush it. Yeah,
I don't know if you're aware of this, but I'm a really easy guy to be married to. I think you've missed.
I think
you've missed that.
I've heard this
it's
about
something
you.
you need to really lock into.
I missed that documentary.
There is a
easiest man to be married to.
I wanted to make
what streaming service was that going on? Because I saw the other one.
I wanted to make the announcement. We are a part of a documentary, and it's called I'm the victim.
Carl Lentz,
you're the victim.
I'm the victim. Okay, it's never been my fault.
Give you my card.
Oh my God. Yeah, please give me your card.
I'm the victim. It's what I've been waiting for. I've been setting all this up to really get to the truth, which is
there it is.
I'm the victim. Lights on. Proud to partner with Plana.org, an organization built to help people deal with the unexpected, from moms trying to give birth by themselves to people handling issues where they don't know where else to turn. Plana.org is a one-stop shop for people who need help. They have an amazing app that's going to become available very soon, but even right now, you can check them out at Plana.org. Get more information about this amazing organization that is fitting and filling a need that is so desperate. Have you ever wondered, where do you turn when X, Y, and Z happens? The unexpected. Plana.org is created to give people hope in the darkest hours. So check them out today. Plana.org. We love you.
What? I've got a question. Oh, no, wait. You want me to keep going?
No.
I do want to hear it.
Stay there. But there is, and I see, I don't know if you do a pod, your own, but I'm sure you're going to be.
Seriously.
You're going to have an idea, but it's always never that. It always becomes something better. But it leads me to the nuance point of, there is a part of my faith in being able to see her because she's cognizant of her own work. And I'm cognizant of my work, meaning I'm not expecting her to fill my cup. So I'm able to, because sometimes you see wives or husbands give needs, and I've said to some other guys like, hey, brother, that's not on her to fill. And I think she trusts that. So when I do have a need, like I said the other day, you paid me a compliment in front of the kids, and I was like, I'm like a rabid dog with compliments from you. I'm just like, one a year. You said something really nice, and I was like, babe, that made me feel amazing. But I think you recognize that because I'm not expecting you to be superwoman. Like, validate me. I need to validate my mother effing self today. And get my worth here and be pleased with myself. And then there's a natural, healthy, I do need you, but you're not the sustenance of my validation. Do you find that there is often expectations on one of the sides of the divorce tables that are just outrageous and they miss it?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think when people tell me their story, whenever someone tells me the story of their marriage and they're the hero of the story and their spouse is the villain, it immediately, my spidey senses start tingling because I kind of go, it's not how it works. Like, it's not really how it works. If someone tells me the story of their marriage and how they got to my office, and they're both the hero and the villain, and they're kind of an anti-hero, and now there's credibility with
there might be hope here.
Yeah, this is a healthier way to approach things. So what I'll say is, anytime somebody comes in and it's very, what the other side did, I go, okay, this is what was the ruin of this marriage, was the fact that this is not a person who can accept that they have any role.
Yeah.
Because I think a marriage, and it's going to sound unromantic to say this, but it's not meant to be. A marriage is an ecosystem and it's an economy.
Beautiful.
And it sounds unromantic, but it's an ecosystem in the sense that if you take a forest and you add in a new kind of lizard, you don't have forest plus lizard. You have a whole new forest, because that lizard eats this bug, and that bug used to pollinate this flower, and that flower is the food of this particular animal, which eats this other invasive animal. And now, a year later, you have an entirely different forest, all because you added the one lizard. So I think a marriage is like that. It's an ecosystem. You add a baby, you don't have the old marriage plus a baby. You've got a whole new marriage. You have, I've had clients where a child dies. It changes the whole dynamic of the marriage. The divorce rate among people who lose a child is incredibly high.
I bet.
Oh, yeah.
Very high.
I can't even
Because you
imagine.
just can't.
I can't.
No.
You can't be anything but a reminder to each other of that loss and the insurmountable grief that comes with it. So, like, it's an ecosystem, though. A family is an ecosystem. A marriage is an ecosystem. And when I say it's an economy, and I get criticized for being unromantic when I say that, but I don't. And, an economy is any time there's value exchanged, And if we're trading coconuts for coconuts, there's no point. One coconut equals one coconut. Like, we don't even have to exchange coconuts. You keep yours, I'll keep mine. We're good. I've got coconuts, you've got bananas. Now we've got an economy. How many coconuts equals how many bananas? Is it 1 and 1? Or is it, 4 bananas equals 1 coconut? This is what a marriage is. A marriage is not, we both bring the exact same things to the table. Why do it then?
Yeah, it's miserable.
It really is supposed to be, I bring the coconut, you bring the banana. What do we do? What's
Together,
the value?
we got
right, value
tons of
received,
fruit.
right, and value given and value received. And how do we? And again, the fairness of that economy is really only the business of the two people in it.
Beautiful.
Because all that matters is, like if someone. I've had people say to me, how much sex is like a normal amount of sex for people to have? I'm like, in what relationship and in what stage of that relationship?
Right.
Here's the answer. Enough.
Yeah.
Enough that both people feel enough. It's good. Because the truth is in everything. I mean, I have a client who's worth $8 billion. Like, I represent people who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I will tell you, one of the many things I've learned from doing that is there are two amounts of money, enough and not enough. And I have clients who have billions of dollars and it's not enough.
Wow.
And guess what? Spoiler alert. Another billion, it's still not going to be enough. It's never going to be enough. Promise. Because if $1 billion's not enough, if 100 million's not enough, trust me, 200 million's not going to be enough.
If that guy is interested in me taking his money to prove
you would help
enough,
I appreciate
I'm willing. I'm open. I only a couple
down.
bill. I'll
Write
just
that down.
so he has sample
And he can
size.
take as long as he wants shaving his legs. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
You'll be like, listen, you give me that 100 million.
Yeah.
You shave your legs for 2 days
Yeah.
if you want to.
Only
and I'm
to
just
prove
gonna-
that it's enough.
I'm just going to come in and reaffirm you. Yeah.
Who gets the most screwed in a divorce situation? Like, does it depend on the
Yeah, it depends on the context. And also depends on how you define screwed.
Who ends
Because,
up with the shortest end of the stick? Typically,
But
man
again,
or woman.
it depends on what you mean. Economically, interpersonally, what their post-divorce options are. Like, there's so many metrics by which I could answer that question. Like, I think it really depends on how we define being screwed. Because I think economically, men are still the majority breadwinners. And it's not uncommon for men to take a serious economic hit in a divorce, which impairs their lifestyle for a significant period of time post-divorce. Now, there's a school of thought that would say, well, that's perfectly sensible, because if a man and a woman divorce and the woman is the primary, residential parent of 3 children, well, there's 4 of them and 1 of him. So yes, she's going to get most of, right? Because she's got 4 people she's taking care of there. So I think there's a lot to be, but it depends on the metric, because I think men, in my experience, and again, this is all, I don't talk about what should be. I talk about what I see.
What you see.
Sitting in front of me. So it's like, don't get mad at me. I don't make it rain. I just sell the umbrella. Like I'm not responsible for the weather. Like it's not like if I said, that's it, I quit, these people are going to stay married for the rest of their lives. Right. Like this really is a situation where if you're in my office, like I didn't encourage you to get divorced, but you're here, you know? Yeah. So my job is to facilitate the demise of that marriage, which again, it's dead. Yeah. I'm here to help bury it.
Right.
If it's still alive, I'm going to be like, whoa, check for a pulse. Be sure. Don't bury something that's still alive.
Yeah.
But if it's dead, and it's going to stink up the place if you don't bury it. So let's bury it.
Yeah.
I do think men have it a bit easier societally post-divorce. I think I have observed, and again, I know in the comments there will be well, I didn't have that experience.
There's always that lady.
Always that.
Man, we're not talking about you.
There's always that.
Relax.
Person. So I get
Calm
it.
down.
I see you.
Calm down.
I like your comment without even reading it. There you go.
Calm down.
But women, a man post-divorce very often has a tremendous number of relationship options. Because if he, for a little while, just is like dating around and says, look, I just got out of a marriage. I want to focus on my kids, but I'm enjoying our company. He can ride that wave for a good number of years.
Yeah.
And if he decides he wants to get serious with another person and he's divorced and has children, I have observed that a lot of women's response is to a man who has children and is divorced, instant family, just add me. Great. Right. Like, let's do this. Like women have such a nurturing capability.
I can fit it
nurturing streak that they're like, let's more the merrier. Like, he's got some stepkids. Cool. Like, I want to meet your ex-wife. Right. Like, we can kind of, I love your hair. I love your whatever. And they like kind of like the female version of broing out. Like they sort of are, you know. Women, I think that's not how society treats women. I think women who have children or are divorced, a lot of men are like, oof, that's baggage. I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to step into that. It's a mess. You know, I got
to deal with that guy.
Right. I got to deal with her ex-husband. And men have that very possessive vibe of like, I don't want to have to interact with this guy. And it's like, well, she's got kids with this guy.
Yeah.
She's going to have to interact with this guy. And you hope that she has a good co-parenting relationship and can talk to him regularly. And they don't have, I mean, I was very blessed that my ex-wife's husband, who's now been her husband much longer than we were married, was always very like welcoming of my friendship with her. He was divorced as well. And I think he understood like, oh yeah, you guys need to parent together. And, you know, he was I'll take a step further. For me, he was like perfect because he early in their relationship when they were getting married said to me like, hey man, I just want you to know, like, I always want to be here for your sons, but like, I'm never going to try to be their dad, you know? And I remember saying to him in that conversation, like, hey, man, like that means so much to me what you're saying right now. But I know you won't be their dad, but like, I really hope you're going to be another adult who's important in their life and cheering for them. And you know what? When they're 17 and they're at that party they weren't supposed to be at, and their ride home is drunk and they don't want their mom or I to know, like, you might be the adult they call and say, hey man, can you pick me up? Like, and don't tell my mom. I was like, you might save my kid's life. Like, so welcome to the team. Like, welcome to the team. So I think women have it harder in some ways, depending on the life stage that they're at. And again, in our current cultural zeitgeist. But I think divorce is hard. Like when you first said, like, who gets the shortest end of the stick? Kids get the shortest end of the stick. The kids get the shortest end of the stick. I mean, without question. Like the kids get it because irrespective of what age they are, they know they are half mom and half dad.
Yeah.
And if mom and dad don't like each other, then there's some part of them that's flawed. Right. And so there's this concept of loyalty binds that's just so hard for kids to navigate. And depending on the age, like if a kid is super young, you know, obviously like the psychological stages of a child, you know, idealization is an important part of a child's development. Like that part when you're little and you're like, my dad's the strongest man in the whole wide world and my mom is the smartest person in the whole wide world. then eventually you go like, okay, my dad's really strong, but like he can't lift a car. And my mom's really smart, but like she actually can't help me with like dividing fractions.
Right.
Maybe you can. And if
I
you can,
can't.
okay, I was going to say, I can't do any of that.
But-
Yeah. So it wasn't an insult. I can't do it either. But I think that divorce pulls a child out of idealization and into individuation too quickly.
Yeah.
And that's really, really hard. But what I will say, because I do spend a lot of time looking at the long-term behavioral, research on divorce and divorce outcomes. And there's a book called The Unexpected Legacy of Divorce, which was the longest term study ever done of adult children of divorce. So these were children of divorce and now they're adults. And what you find, what they found, is that it's not divorce that screws up kids. It's parental conflict that screws up kids. And parental conflict happens to correlate with divorce a lot.
Right.
But parents who divorce in an amicable manner and relate to each other as co-parents in an amicable way, their children fare much better than people who stay married and have an antagonistic, angry, combative relationship with each other.
Yeah.
So my feeling has always been, in my work and the way that I reconcile it with my morality, is sometimes living happily ever after for the collective is live happily ever after separately. Like sometimes ending the marriage is the thing you need to do in order for everyone in this marriage to be, including the children, have a more successful long-term outcome.
Yeah, I think that was my, again, my therapy. She said that to me in the very beginning was, it's your kids are going to be fine if you get divorced.
Yes.
If you do it right and all of those things, because I think that's your first thought of like my kids.
Of course.
And so I think that's a really important one to know, that if you get divorced, you can do it beautifully.
Yeah.
But there's also, I feel like the kids also get the worst end of that.
Yeah.
And I forget where I read it, something called a nesting divorce.
Sure, nesting.
Which I loved the sound of. Like if I was to ever get divorced, I would do that, which is, from what I understand, the family stays in one. So the kid, because I feel like the kids are the ones that they have to move from dad's house to mum's house to dad's house to, and I'm like, how is that fair? They did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But the nesting thing where you have that one home where the kids live.
Right.
Mum and dad can come and go.
Yeah.
Like that makes more sense to me. And I think it's beautiful.
It is something people do, and some people do it successfully. There's an argument to be made that it's trying to anesthetize something that children actually need to feel, which is, this is a punctuation mark in my life, that my parents are getting divorced. And so there's going to be a new dynamic. And there's going to be mom's place and there's going to be dad's place. And there's going to be time with mom and there's going to be time with dad. So there's a school of thought that says that nesting is very healthy. There's a school of thought that says nesting is difficult and unhealthy. I think the reason why it doesn't happen more often is not an interpersonal one. It's an economic one, which is you have to essentially be able to maintain 3 households.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
And so as someone who represents very wealthy people, I will tell you it is popular among the wealthy because they can afford to say, okay, this will be the apartment for the kids where we nest, and then we'll each have our own places. But economically, most people can't afford to do something like that. And I don't think the benefit of it is so profound that it would be worth like bankrupting yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Because I think what you're describing as effective about it is the sense that the children are the focus. The children and their needs are the focus.
They matter.
So it's not what schedule do I want, what schedule do you want? It's what schedule is best for our children. And when people co-parent in a child-centered way, they have better outcomes. And by the way, children, as people who have some younger kids and some older kids, children grow up, and the stages of what they need at any given time, those move around.
Radically
so
shift.
Having the ability to communicate with each other as co-parents and say like, hey, I think, Brian needs a little extra time. Like, I think he's having a hard time right now. Like, maybe this weekend, could you spend a little extra time with him? And, being like, he's not feeling well right now. And I think he wants mom. Like, so do you mind if, like, and I have to tell you, like, I'm very blessed because my co-parent, when our boys were younger, we lived right down the street from each other deliberately. So our kids could walk back and forth. I think our kids grew up with a very bizarre sense of what divorce is like.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, your parents are divorced. Yeah, but they like have keys to each other's house and stuff. And they take care of each other's pets when they're way on vacation.
Our kids would say that about our infidelity explosion. That they have an altered view of it because of the way we've handled it. It's not that it's made our family closer.
Right.
It's made our family,
Right. Yeah. And that's the beauty of, I think, when you have a non-traditional dynamic.
Yeah.
Of course, like I said, your children grow up just thinking this is how it is, but it's humorous because I think that's a gift. Yeah. Like, I think your children will have special gifts because of that ability to say, oh yeah, I've seen these, these kinds of spectacular implosion. And then I've seen like joy and beauty that came after that, so I think that there's a real, it can be very, very hard on children, obviously, when parents divorce. I think parental discord can be very hard on children because our children love us so much. What I will tell you is, even though I've been working in high conflict divorce for over 2 decades, no matter how angry you are at your spouse, most people love their children more than they hate their spouse. So like the angriest that they would ever be, because I'm sure, you described your therapist saying to you, look, you could divorce and your kids will be okay. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a gift that person said that to you, because now the choice is yours.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can't say, well, I had to stay for the kids.
Nope.
Which, by the way, then would haunt you forever, because it's like, well, did you stay because you love them? Or did you stay because of the kids?
Right.
So I think there's tremendous value in empowering a person and giving them that kind of agency. Mm-hmm. But also, I think that it's a very beautiful thing that our minds go to our kids first. Like, it's such a unique thing about parenting that, like, your heart is walking around, and you kind of, your first thought is, oh my God, are the kids going to be okay? And Carl, you and I've talked many times, and every time we talk about, sort of the spectacular implosion that you endured, when I see you get the most profoundly welled up about it is talking about the impact it had on your kids, even though that was a temporary impact, and even though there will be beautiful things that come from that, I think that is a really lovely thing, that we love our kids that much, that they give us a tremendous incentive to figure our shit out.
Right.
Yeah. Jay, I want you to ask him the question about the silent killer. Mm-hmm. But what's funny about that is when I got to rehab, I had to face down, I kept saying I love my kids more than anything. And the therapist said, hey, we got to be honest, you don't.
Right.
And I pushed back with very volatile words. Yeah. And her point was, you love your choices more than your kids. Oof. The moment you can face that, and she was not incorrect. I hated it. Yeah. But I learned.
That's why you hated it, because you're like, that is stupid.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm because a lot of guys will say that. For instance, like, I'll die for my kids. I said to a guy the other day, that's easy. Will you live for your child? Right. I'll die for my kids. You will, but you won't get yourself help. Right. So it's more valiant of you to, I'll die for my kids. Yeah, but you won't live healthy for them. Right. What if that's the metric of a man? And that's my challenge to dads. It's like, don't tell me that you're going to die for your kid. Yeah. I want to see if you're willing to live a life that's worthy of that kind of expression.
Well, and I think men are encouraged from a young age to be spectacularly heroic in opportunities to be spectacularly heroic.
Be small in great doses.
But what's actually more impressive
small doses,
is these little good choices.
That's it.
Like, and that's really what we just said earlier about being seen.
Yeah.
Like, do you love when he comes home from a trip and is like, I brought you this present, and I brought you a love note, and I brought you flowers, and of course.
Yeah.
Those kinds of grand gestures are beautiful and wonderful. But the truth is, like, every single day, how you treat someone, these little things, that's the real stuff. So you're like, I love her so much, I'm going to take her away for a week, and we're going to do this and do that. Yeah. It's like, okay, or You could literally take 30 seconds every day to send her a text saying, I'll be home in an hour. I missed you.
Yeah. Well, it's like we observed a couple, and it was a far judgment. So we're just saying it was our observation of what was obviously this big deal, like this romantic dinner, and someone had this big diamond on, but they looked miserable before the photo and miserable after. In his mind, I gave you the ring at the special location, and by all evidential clues, I think the ride to the diamond ring giving might have meant more if you weren't such a freaking jerk. I think she would forego the ring for a kind conversation. When it comes to contempt, when it comes to eye rolling, I've heard you speak directly to the way a spouse will listen to another spouse. And I think, and when I heard you say it, I said, I want to ask you more about it, and I have, but I'd love for you to share with our listener what you've seen about the reception of a story, a conversation. That can you speak to the contempt that might
Yeah, I mean, I think so much is conveyed in the demeanor that we show towards our partner, and we send so many messages without even saying a word, you know. And the example I often give when it comes to co-parenting, because people will say like, "Well, I don't talk bad about my ex-wife," and I'm like, "Okay, ready? Hello." Here, it's Mom. All I had to do was roll my eyes, turn my head, and I just told you everything. I told you Mom stinks, right? So it's the same. Like I think it's become very fashionable in this culture, particularly, but it really goes both ways. That like women talk about their husbands, often in their presence, but certainly when they're not around, as if they were just idiots.
Yeah,
they're just idiots. Just like, oh, what is he doing? Or you're telling a story that you're very proud of something that probably to you is frivolous. Like, oh my God, I just got to this level on Call of Duty, you know, and you're, and you know, you're like oh, that's great, you know, like it. And it's such the feeling of, and for men, it's the same thing. It's become fashionable for men to treat like, oh, yeah, my wife is like the most loathsome harpy ever to castrate a man, you know, like this. And it's like cute. Like, this is our bonding.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, when we get together and just talk about how much
we make fun of each other. Cool.
Right. And then the new friend, by the way, like the friend who just started dating someone.
Yeah.
All the women are like, oh my God, and then what did he do? Oh my God, he sounds so great. And you're like, fast forward ahead 3 years, right, and she's going to just be doing the same thing. She's just going to be doing what all of you are doing, which is like, oh, and then this, you know. Like, so it's the same thing. Like, I think this what's become very fashionable, this idea that our partner, our spouse, this person we've chosen out of 8 billion other options, that it is somehow cute or funny or a good way to bond to just like roll your eyes at or around or in reference to that person, or just sort of like, I've already heard this story. You know what? This person's excited to tell you a story. Like, is there anything more deflating than when you hear a funny joke and you're like, I can't wait to tell my wife that joke. And then you're like, I've heard that one. And you just are like, wah, wah. Crushing. Just shut up.
Play it out. Play it out.
Say it. And then go, oh, that's a good one. I really like that one. Like, what does it cost you?
You have been, for 20 plus years, you have been unbelievable with that. Like, if I'm telling somebody something
that you've heard 1,000 times.
She's like an MC hype woman right next to me, like, tell them about that part. I mean, all these years.
But, and by the way, and I don't even have to say, just the way you're animating while talking about it, and you feel really loved when she does that.
I've never
like, and you feel really loved when she does that. That's a great feeling. Like, what a gift.
It's a robbery to not have it, because I know a lot of guys who have, like, I've never doubted something that I've stepped out in because of you, ever. But it's not just the big stuff, it's the little stuff. It's the quick conversations where you're always in, you're always supportive, and maybe behind closed doors, you're like, hey, you know, you said that story 4 nights in a row to the kids. No, but thank you for not saying it there.
Right.
Like, that is one of your greatest strengths. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just being a supportive, loving person. Like, why? And because I'm doing some study right now with the Gottman method. So that, you know, they're 4 horsemen with the contempt. If they see those 4 things in a marriage, in a relationship, they're like, they're done, it's over. So contempt is like the top one, which is the eye rolling and all of those things. So I think, I mean, when we went through our shitstorm, that was my biggest thing. Was because I've seen what divorce does to people, to women and men on the other side of it, which is, it can be great, but it can also be really damaging, obviously. And I just, in myself, I just refused. I did not want to be someone that's gone through something like we had gone through. And I never wanted to build that wall or like have that contempt or have a hard heart and just be bitter, because you see so many women and men that have gone through divorce that are just bitter all the time. And I think that was my biggest, probably my biggest focus point for my healing in our relationship was I just don't want to be that. I know what I don't want to be, so I'm going to go this way. And I think that's really what has saved me in our relationship, is just being able to put, that's my focus. I don't want to be that.
Or get out. If you're going to resist me forever and be bitter, don't sucker me into
stay around.
Going all in. Let me know now so I can make that choice.
I would regret if I didn't say out loud to you something that I have thought many times when I've listened to the show and listened to the two of you. I think you're one of the bravest people I've ever met.
Thank you.
Like, there's a bravery to you that is moving to me, because there are so many things you could have done in so many situations here that were so much easier. Mm-hmm. And you just keep doing the harder, bigger thing. And it's very funny because, Carl's a big, strong, muscular dude. And, men get a lot of credit for being like strong and brave and, and there is like, even what you just said a second ago, that you were like, yeah, I didn't want to like build walls to keep out being hurt again, and because walls keep out the hurt, but they also like prevent the sun from coming in. They prevent like good things from coming in. And like the fact that you were brave enough to go, yeah, I'm not going to build wall. I'm not going to run, which is what most people would say. Just run. Just get out. Yeah. Like, let him live with it. Get out. Yeah. Or build walls. Build walls because he deserves it. Yeah. And build walls and protect yourself, and don't ever let, or keep riding on this, and you're just going to hit him over the head with it whenever you need to. And you got a trump card right now. You're going to be able to, you can get away with murder. You can do whatever. Right. And you did this incredibly, and every single time I listen to the show and every single time I hear you talk, even in the parenting stuff you talk about, like you do these brave things. And I admire bravery so much, because to me, if you're not scared, it's not brave. Like, it's only brave if you're scared and you do it anyway. Mm-hmm. And there's so many, I can only imagine some of the fear you have felt in all of this. I know just as a parent, the fear I've felt as a parent. And you felt that fear, and then you push to the thing. And so I would feel remiss if I didn't say it. Like, I've admired your bravery for a long time.
Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this. You're such a help to many, and I know today will be that. And I will say for the amazing listener, keep your head up. Keep fighting. Relationships are challenging for a reason, and
stop eye rolling.
Stop rolling your freaking eyes.
Pay attention.
Suck it up.
Just pay attention.
We come back.
And be brave.
We're gonna come back and talk to you again.
Right on. Of course.
Thank you.
I love it.
Love you.
This has been Lights On. We love you.